In this video, we're going to multiply exponents and we're going to learn how to FOIL. So our first example is 3 times x minus 5. You have already seen this before in Unit 2. To multiply this, you are going to use the distributive property. So we're going to multiply 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times negative 5, which is negative 15. This is something you have already seen before. Our next example is 4x times x plus 2. If you notice, now you have two x's, so your laws of exponents are going to come in. 4x times x is 4x squared. So you're using your multiplying exponents rule. You're multiplying the coefficients in front. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 in front. 4 times 1 is 4. And then you're adding your exponents. There are imaginary exponents of 1 here. 1 plus 1 is 2. 4x times 2 is just 8x. So when you are doing distributive property here, just remember you're multiplying your coefficients, you're multiplying the big numbers in front, you are adding your exponents. Looking at this next one, we have 3x squared times x plus 6. 3x squared times x is 3x to the third. You are adding your exponents. 3x squared times 6 is 18x squared. 3 times 6 gives us the 18. Now, a lot of people try to add these together, the x cubed and the x squared. But since they are not like terms, you cannot add them. So we are finished. For this next one, you are going to look at each base separately. So 3 times 2 gives us a 6 in front. X squared times x is x to the third because there is an imaginary 1 there. And then I'm left with a y. 3 times 5 is 15. I have an x squared. And y times y, remember y to the first times y to the first is y to the second. So you are looking at each base separately, multiplying the coefficients in front, adding your exponents. Since these are not like terms, I cannot combine them, so I am finished. Go ahead and pause the video, try this one on your own, and restart when you're ready to check. When you distribute the 6x squared here, 6 times 2 is 12, and x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. You're adding your exponents there. 6 times 4 is 24, and x squared times x, remember x is the same thing as x to the first, becomes x to the third. 6x squared times negative 9 is negative 54x squared. You cannot combine these because they are not like terms. Excuse me. On this one, we're going to distribute the b first. B times 5b is 5b squared. B times negative 2 is negative 2b. And then I'm going to bring down the 12b. If you look carefully on this one, we do have some like terms that we can combine. 5b squared is going to stay 5b squared, but I can actually combine negative 2b plus 12b. Since those are like terms, negative 2 plus 12 becomes positive 10b. In order to add and subtract terms, both their base and their exponent have to be the same. Alright, now we're to the part of the video where we are going to go over FOIL. So before we start, I want you to write this down. When I say the word FOIL, you're going to follow these steps. F stands for first, O stands for outside, I stands for inside, and L stands for last. So when you are using FOIL, you're going to use it when you have what we call a binomial times a binomial, or in other words, a 2 by 2. We have 2 terms times 2 terms. It's basically distributive property twice. So the first part of FOIL, the word first, means you're going to multiply the first terms together, x times x. And x times x gives us x squared. Then you're going to multiply the outside terms together. X times 4 is 4x. So basically what I've done there is I've distributed this first x to both terms in the other set of parentheses. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the 2. My inside terms, 2 times x, is 2x. And my last terms, 2 times 4, is 8. Now that I've distributed everything out, I'm going to check and see if I have any like terms that I can combine. Sure enough, I have 4x plus 2x here. I can combine 4x plus 2x to give me 6x, meaning my final answer is x squared plus 6x plus 8. On my next example, I have x minus 3 times x plus 1. So I'm still doing FOIL here. X times x is x squared, and x times 1 is 1x. You can write that as 1x or just x. So I distributed my x to both terms. Now, be careful with your signs. This 3 has a minus sign in front, so I'm basically distributing a negative 3. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. My last step is to combine like terms, and x minus 3x means my final answer is x squared minus 2x minus 3. Go ahead and pause the video, try this one on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check. When you are foiling this, 2x times 3x, remember you're going to multiply the coefficients in front, the big numbers in front. 2 times 3 is 6. And then you're going to add your exponents. X times x is x squared. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Be careful with your signs. Negative 3 times 3x is negative 9x. And negative 3 times negative 1, a negative times a negative, is a positive 3. I have like terms here of negative 2x minus 9x, making this 6x squared minus 11x plus 3. All right, on this one, I have x plus 3 squared. Your answer here is not x squared plus 9. This is the most common answer I get for this problem. It is not x squared plus 9. Put a big star next to this problem. When you have x plus 3 squared, what this means is you have x plus 3 twice. So you have to actually FOIL this out. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and try to FOIL this on your own before restarting to check. When you FOIL this, x times x is x squared, x times 3 is 3x, 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 3 is 9. Combining like terms, 3x plus 3x, my final answer is x squared plus 6x plus 9. You have to FOIL this out to get that middle term of 6x. Your answer is not x squared plus 9. So be really careful when you see problems like this. All right, for this next one, I have a 2 by 3. So whenever you FOIL this, you're going to distribute the x to all 3 terms, and then you're going to distribute the 3 to all 3 terms. So let's go through this slowly together. X times x squared is x to the third. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times 4 is 4x. I distributed the x to all three. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the 3. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 2x is 6x. And 3 times 4 is 12. My final step is to combine any like terms. So x cubed, there's no other cubed, so this is going to stay x cubed. 2x squared combines with 3x squared to give me 5x squared. 4x combines with 6x to give me 10x. Remember, when you're adding and subtracting, the exponent does not change. And then I'm left with the plus 12 at the end. This is my final answer. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about, this actually should say divide, is when you're dividing terms. So when I'm dividing 20x squared plus 10x plus 5, you can actually think of this as dividing each term by 5. So you can go ahead and separate this out. 20x squared divided by 5 is 4x squared, and 10x divided by 5 is 2x. I cannot combine those because they are not like terms, so I'm finished. Looking at our last problem, you have to remember your laws of exponents. We're actually dividing this. So 12x squared divided by 6x and 6x divided by 6x. Remember, when you're dividing exponents, you're dividing the big numbers in front and you are subtracting your exponents. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, and x has an imaginary exponent of 1. 2 minus 1 means I'm left with an x. For the second one, 6 divided by 6 is 1, and those x's cancel out. So 6x divided by 6x just cancels to 1. My main word of advice whenever you're foiling and dealing with exponents is to be really careful with your signs and to remember your laws of exponents. Remember, when you're foiling, you are multiplying the coefficients, the big numbers in front. You are adding your exponents.